Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Are We There Yet podcast. I'm your host, Susan Ruth.
And I'm your host, Mara Adelman. And we are two humans having the real conversations and raising the questions about where there really is when it comes to dating, relationships, and sex.
Every breath you take.
Oh, you creeped me out with that. How did I not know that that was a stalker song? So today's topic for everybody who's listening is safety in dating. And Susan here came up with.
I did not know that Every Breath You Take is a song that is about a stalker. And I said, oh my gosh, yes, there's so many stalker songs. It's hard to pick which one for this one. But
now I'm going to always be creeped out when I hear it. You're talking to the wimpiest of the wimpiest with this stuff. And the reason we're doing this one is because, number one, we keep talking about dating and I want to make sure people stay safe, obviously. But I watched this show on Hulu called Dating App Horror Stories. It's going to be a series and it was only the first one. And I was already like, oh, I shouldn't watch this. But I want to be safe and we want to make sure everybody's safe, right? So essentially, the apps, because of this, I got to look at it, Communications Dating Act. There's a Communications Dating Act that actually protects these dating companies from necessarily getting rid of sex offenders. So there was this guy had multiple sex offenses and they couldn't shut him down and they didn't know. And so it just brought that to mind that like, you're not necessarily safe. However, they really hyped up how you're not safe when you date online. I'm like, well, it also applies to when you meet somebody in a bar or out at the grocery store.
Yeah, I think period. You should be concerned with your safety, not to the point where you're scared and never leave your house, but certainly it's important to have your wits about you, never let your drink be unattended. If you're feeling unsafe, that it's okay to go up to the bouncer if you're in a bar or the hostess or host or whomever, or even another person, just anyone, and say, hey, I'm feeling unsafe. Can you call me a car or something, whatever it is. Personally, for me, I almost always drive myself to a situation.
That's on when I looked up the list of things to keep you safe. We should always be taking our own transportation. Mm-hmm. I do, but I haven't always. No, I haven't always actually.
And is that just for the first date or is it moving forward too? Because it's not, like I said before in one of the previous episodes, that you don't always know when that person's facade will fall, right?
Yeah, no, I've allowed people to come to my house to pick me up on like date 2 and date 3. And based on some stuff that's happened, nothing horrible. I've never had horrible, but I think I'm meeting people's representative and I'm not sure I want them in my house and around my animals and around like knowing where I live until I'm sure that they're representative. And that's obviously not going to be 3 months, 6 months, a year, but maybe 3 dates. I don't know. I'm still working on my own like thing.
Also, we have this beautiful thing called the internet that you can deep dive and find. I'm getting to the point now in my life where I'm almost thinking, okay, I know a private investigator. I can always say, hey, could you look this person up? Make sure they are who they say they are. If they don't have an online presence, because most people have an online presence of some sort,
which allows you to, and I actually think that was not on my list of tips. You should always do a little sleuthing and making sure that this person is real. So yeah. Have you ever had any really bad experiences?
I got roofied once at a party. So that was bad, but not by the guy I was with. I had just started dating someone. We were probably about 3 months in, and this was when I lived in Seattle, and there was a Halloween party. And so we were getting ready for the Halloween party, and I had this really strange, which now I know, always listen to your intuition. But I had my flask that was sitting on my dresser, and I looked over it and I said to my boyfriend, oh, should we bring our own alcohol so we don't have to, do anything with any, worry about it. And he said, no, there's going to be bar. It was a warehouse party and it was put on by the like polyamory. Neither of us were polyamorous, but it was put on by the polyamory groups in Seattle. It's this huge warehouse. There were all these different groups that had their own booths. It was a big fundraiser, like this whole big thing. And I said, so should we bring our own alcohol? No, it's fine. I dressed as a kitty cat and he was a dog. And we went to the party, and as we were walking up the steps, I'll never forget this. We're walking up the steps, and I said to him, "This is the kind of party you get roofied at." Ha ha. I'm like making a joke.
Shit.
My intuition was clearly trying to tell me something, and I ignored it both times.
I'm covered in goosebumps because
Yeah.
we have to listen to our gut. It's almost like the universe is saying, how would you have known that? But the universe or your gut was saying,
Somebody,
pay
my
attention.
guardian angels. Yeah, exactly. So went
You
into
talked about Clement. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
no, it's okay. So went into this party, it's packed. I had friends there, you know, but there was probably 1,500 people at this party, all different rooms and all different booths and things.
Halloween shindig.
Yeah, it was all fun and Halloweeny. And I like tequila. And so there was a tequila booth. And I went, oh my gosh, perfect. I went to the tequila booth. We both got a shot. And then we went to the tequila booth again, got another shot. This is over the course of now, like an hour or two has gone by. And I'm, you know, just happy I'm not drunk or buzzed or whatever. We'd had a dinner beforehand. Go up to, and then he's somewhere, and we had that kind of relationship. We didn't have to be by each other's side. You know, he had friends there, I had friends there. We were just sort of mingling at the party, whatever, knowing that we were fine. And I went back to the tequila booth and I said, may I have another, you know, straight tequila? And I remember when I was ordering it from the one guy, and something caught my eye, but I was engaged in a conversation, but something caught my eye, and that there were two other guys in the booth, and the one guy that wasn't there before was there, and he handed my shot to the other guy, and then that guy handed it to the other guy, the one I was talking to. And in my brain for a minute, I thought, that's weird. I just thought, that's weird.
Right.
Took the shot. Don't remember anything afterward. Nothing. And I was by myself getting the drink at that time. Remember the first two times I was with my boyfriend at the time.
Yeah. So they didn't realize you had a partner there with you, and they were like, let's see if we can get her incapacitated.
Yeah. And for all I knew, I was alone. Because in retrospect, like my boyfriend at the time and we, you know, very playful, whatever, for all they knew, we just like knew each other and was whatever. And so many people at the party.
Did he take care of you and take you home?
Well, so my friends that were there, I honestly, about 20, I remember having to go to the bathroom. I had the shot, and within a couple minutes, I remember being in the bathroom and thinking, something doesn't feel right, and like kind of stumbly. I can hold my tequila, first of all. And so that was weird.
We would know the difference. Yeah. 3 shots.
3 shots is nothing.
No.
I'm a raging alcoholic, but at the time I probably had a higher tolerance. And also tequila doesn't affect me the way it's really, it works well with my body.
And you may not remember what happened, but when I was watching that show, this girl got roofied, and there was video of her wandering carports, acting kind of normal, but really stumbly. She doesn't remember any of it. So it's creepy to watch. So I can imagine you stumbling around in this place.
You're zombified, basically, right? You're not unaware of what's going on, but you're still active. So in the beginning stages of it. So a couple of my friends were at this party, and they said they thought he drugged me. They were like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, you know, and they're like, something is wrong. And then they said I kind of wandered off into the party, and they kind of talk, you know, again, it's like these little red flags, but people aren't acting on them. In retrospect, they're like, we thought he drugged you or something we didn't understand, or maybe you were on Molly or something. We didn't know what was going on. They said I kept like petting them. And then that was it. I don't remember anything. The next thing I know, I'm in a car and I'm vomiting out the window. And my boyfriend had found me in this weird, like back, my friends had found him, said something's wrong. They found me in this like back corner closet, like inside of a shut door.
So scary.
Just some weird back area. I was unconscious. I came to a little bit to throw up out the window.
Oh my
God.
God.
Spent the night. Apparently, my boyfriend told me that all I did all night was throw up and like I was just in a state of passing out and like throwing up all night. Didn't remember anything. In the morning, woke up feeling I was spinning nonstop. It was the worst. It was so sickening. And I kept saying, I think I got roofied. I think I got roofied.
Got roofied. Sounds like you got roofied.
About it. He said, he said, oh no, you just can't handle your liquor. I said, what are you talking about? He's like, you drank too much probably. And I said, no, I had 3 shots of tequila and that is it.
Based on that show I watched with the wandering around. So you got roofied. How horrible.
Totally got roofied. So the next
So how are we going to help other people stay safe? Because all you did was get a shot of tequila.
I was going to say, believe your person when they say I got roofied, because he said, no, you just were drunk. I got so mad. I was like, what are you talking about? It's like, I can hold my liquor. I actually challenged him to a tequila drinking contest. After the fact, like a month later, I said, I will prove to you that I got roofied. He was such a dick about it, you know? And so my friends that were there that night, my friends and him and his friends all went to this fancy tequila bar in Seattle that doesn't exist anymore. And I drank him under the table. Falling, like passing out. Like, I think I got
Don't tell me I can't. Don't tell me I wasn't roofied, you motherfucker.
Yeah. Oh. And then he apologized. He said, oh my God, you were drunk. I was like, thank you. I shouldn't have to drink you under the table. I don't know what that says about me. I couldn't have done that with any other kind of alcohol, only tequila.
Okay, so the takeaways I'm taking from this are: listen to your intuition. Make sure you're at parties or somewhere with people and that you're checking on each other, right?
Yes.
Because I mean, this wasn't even a dating incident. It was a total random thing.
So we investigated after the fact, and it turned out that the tequila bar people were a latecomer to that party. They didn't even pay the fee. They just sort of showed up, set up shop. Nobody really knew who they were. Nobody, like, all this stuff came back. So who knows how many other girls that had happened to that night that weren't so lucky.
And the whole point was to probably take advantage of them.
100%. Yes, absolutely. It was that. It's just terrifying. It's terrifying.
Okay. So now you're making me more creeped out about going out, but like, oh, sorry, Nixel. Oh, the Nixels go off periodically.
What's wait,
the Nixel, like you don't have Nixel? It's an alert.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's everybody should have Nixel. It gives you alerts for fires, floods, police activity in your area. I'll tell you about it later and we'll get you signed up.
Okay.
Safe with, but my phone's on silent, but Nixels always come through when you've got it right. So the takeaways really are: listen to your intuition, have somebody with you. I have a pretty good method, I think, for dating that's going to keep me safe, but I'm still questioning that based on your story, because if I'm going on a date, I put these parameters up to stay safe. But when I go out by myself, I'm a little more loose about those things. So I'm going to have to rethink how I do those things. Yeah. When I go on dates, how do you stay safe during dates? So when I go out on dates, I'm like, I call it the Mara method. I don't even give somebody my phone number anymore until we have met in person, because I've had a couple uncomfortable situations. I've had nothing bad like you had. That's a horrible experience, like traumatic. You got fucking roofied. I had a guy just be nasty. Like we talked on the phone the first time and it wasn't going to be a match. And he sends me the dick pic, which we all get a lot of, but this was an angry dick pic. Like, look at it was, he had a fairly large member. Take a look at this and you're not going to get this anymore, with angry face. Because I had told him I didn't feel like going on a first date because we'd had a conversation on the phone that made me feel uncomfortable, and I listened to my gut. So now I just don't get my number out anymore. It's app, text, video date, in-person date, in daylight. I've gone for evening dates, but I only have, my max is 2 drinks because I can have 2 without falling apart. So everybody should, like, what's your max if you go on a date? Are you have a max?
Sometimes I don't even drink at all. I have like a glass of wine maybe, or a cocktail, or like a martini or something. I'm not a big drinker anyway. So whatever, like, I don't need the lubrication some people need, I think. But I don't think, honestly, I don't think it matters if you're in a day date or an evening date. If somebody wants to take advantage of you, they will. Yeah. And the thing I cannot stress is enough: watch your drinks. It's barely, you could get something into someone's drink without them ever knowing. You could just reach across the table to be like, oh, look at this on the menu. And as you go across the table, you could drop something into their drink, Now they make that nail polish.
What is it?
There's a nail polish that will react to rohypnol.
So if you put your finger in the drink, it tells you if you got roofied? Oh, that's a good dating tip.
And the other thing is too, is like, watch out for each other. If you see something, and we have seen in the papers, in the newspapers, of people, seeing something happen when a girl has gone to the bathroom or whatever. And You just never know. And then you shouldn't live your life in a state of fear. Don't do that either.
No, but you and I are the kind of people that if we see a woman not okay, we're going to do something about it.
Yes, for sure.
For each other. I haven't had any bad stuff like that. I've just had like the uncomfortable stuff, the silly, like a couple times I showed up on a date and I just felt like this person is off their rocker. One time I showed up, this guy had his vitamin sitting on the thing and then wanted to proceed to tell me how this one's for his constipation. I was like, oh, you're not quite well. Okay, I'm going to end this.
Honesty.
I know, but it wasn't normal. I mean, it was just not. And one time I showed up on a date and this guy had this huge sore on his face.
Oh,
we were going on a hike up a hill and I didn't want to ask, but I was like, did you get in a fight? Like, should I be going up this hill with you? Turns out he was in a mountain biking accident. But I mean, who does that? Why don't you know, he should have prefaced it with, by the way, when you see me on my date, I have this huge, I just kept thinking fight, somebody bit him. Should I be walking with this person? So, you know,
gut is everything. I think your gut will tell you a lot. And our rational mind, of course, we talked about in a previous episode about the feminine, masculine energy.
Yes.
Feminine energy will make excuses on top of our rational energy saying, you know, masculine energy saying, this doesn't feel right. Yeah. Or maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. Your brain, whichever it is, it's like your brain will try to out-talk your gut.
Yeah, your brain out-talks your gut.
You know that stuff better than I do.
No, it's exactly what it is. Your brain, it's like your gut says something, and I have learned over and over again, listen, and then your brain, but I can't quite either put that together, whether it's feminine or masculine, but your brain says, no, don't worry about that.
Fine.
Fine. But women, and sorry, men also have things happen to them.
Yeah.
The female species, we're a little more vulnerable.
Well, we only have our own experience to talk from for that. But yeah, of course, men are also vulnerable. And trans people are extremely vulnerable. And
way more.
Yeah.
Extreme rates of violence.
Insane rates of violence. Yeah. And
so it was interesting. I read that Tinder started. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Tinder's starting to do background checks.
That's good.
I think is great. But all that tells you is if somebody's been, it doesn't tell you if they're a raging narcissist. It just tells you if they've had prison time, right? Or they've got something else going on.
Well, lovely people that have been in prison. So, I mean, that's not a real.
I know. So a background check is not going to really tell you whether it's safe to go on a date with this person.
If you get into the car and the handle is missing, or if there's duct tape and, you know, a bottle of ether in the back, get out through whatever you can. Just don't get it. The other thing about safety that I think is important to talk about is sexual safety, about practicing safe sex and to have the conversation. And I'll say this till the cows come home. If you're old enough to have sex, if you're mature enough to have sex, you're mature enough to have a conversation about safe sex.
Yes, please. Yes.
Because STDs are through the roof, babies.
Through the roof. Syphilis is making a comeback. I feel like it needs to be that piece of like, here's where I'm at here, if I've ever had anything, and let's go get our testing done. Mm-hmm. Now it's free and clear. Yeah. The sexual part, pregnancy, safety, you know, you're dating somebody, you know, let's talk about birth control.
Yep. You can get pregnant on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, standing up in a hot tub while drinking a Coca-Cola.
If they pull out, you can still get pregnant.
Yep.
All of that. Yeah, I feel like the gut, I just go back to the gut thing. So and I don't know. So that's where the feminine energy comes in. It's that all-knowing intuition thing that comes with feminine energy. Mm-hmm. Because then you are in that feminine space, you're in the moment, you're present, and you can go, okay, listen. So it just reminded me of a story. I walked into a room one time to see a patient, 70-year-old, normal looking Caucasian patient with a cane, like nice gentleman look. And the minute I walked in the room, hackles were up, goosebumps. I was like, ew. I got out of there as fast as possible, did my visit, and actually put in his chart, needs to see male providers. And I didn't even know why. Later, I was talking to one of the staff members and they go, oh, he's a sexual predator. He's on the, you know, and I went, holy crap, my gut was right. But I couldn't even explain. I still get goosebumps. I couldn't even explain it. He looked like the nicest old man you've ever seen. So again, whether you're male or female or whatever, listen to your gut is the biggest thing.
Your gut, for sure. And also another tip is when you get into your car and you shut your door, drive away before you check your texts. Don't sit in your car and go through your texts and all that. Don't sit in your car for 10 minutes. There's two things for that. One is safety. And the other is, damn it, I'm trying to get in that parking spot.
Yes, drives me crazy.
Get off your phone so I can pull into that damn spot.
Right. That's so annoying. I try to be polite as well, but for safety purposes.
Yeah.
I mean, look at my list of things to say safe, but I think you covered it all, like the gut. For me, I choose to do the video first, but everybody should just figure out. Some people prefer to have a phone conversation first. Some people go in blind. Whatever it is, just be careful. Tell a friend where you are. We talked about that. Take your own transportation. Stay sober or soberish. Meet in public. Listen to your gut. Don't share so much personal information on your first date because you're getting their representative. If anything weird happens, don't delete it. Like take screenshots so you can send it to the app, the dating app, or the
police or whomever, or your friends. Always tell your friends where you're going. Also, where you're going to dinner and or to drinks or whatever, the name of the person you're going out with, all that stuff. I mean, I definitely give that information.
Do you?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I haven't been good about that lately. I'm going to start. I'll text you and my sister and be like, I'm going on a date with this guy. His name is, because you're right.
And it sounds almost crazy, right? That we have to do all this stuff, but as a member of the species who is more vulnerable because of predatory practices of others, it's just you got to do it. You got to do it.
I have not been as perfect about it. So thank you for your
one of my dear friends. Yeah. One of my dear friends got drugged at a bar and taken for a long weekend of very, very bad things. And she had to escape. And in her escape, she just ran as fast and as far as she could and couldn't even like tell people where she couldn't even direct anybody. And she was so traumatized by it. She didn't go to the police. She was so shamed by it.
It's pretty common. A lot of women just go home and take a shower. Yeah.
Yep.
They can't.
Many.
You're in like self-preservation mode.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to let that happen to us, and we're not going to let it happen to our listeners. We will constantly remain reminding with
be safe, and it's okay to be safe. And you know what? Here's the other thing. If you say I'm not comfortable with that, if somebody gives you pushback and is a jerk about it, that's a huge freaking red flag. So if you say, you know what, I'm not comfortable with that on the first date, it's just not what I do. I've said that before, and their response should be like, totally get it. No problem. We can meet at the place. That is the appropriate response. Not being mad.
and not being pushy. No, I'll just come pick you up. I'll just come
no pushy, no mad, any of that stuff. Those are boundary flags. Boundary flags are important because if they're willing to do that from the get-go, it's likely it's only going to get progressively worse.
Very, very, very true.
People's personal boundaries is so important to set up your own boundaries. Like, this is what my parameters are. And if people try to nudge through that boundary, it's a big red flag. That's a flag on the field, babies. Flag on the field.
Listen to your gut and pay attention to the red flags.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and in a couple of weeks, we're going to talk about slow dating, which you're going to help me with because you're better at this. If I find that connection and it's there, I'm going to want to move forward, and I might not listen to all this advice that we just gave everybody else. And so you'll keep me in line. You'll keep me in line. And in 2 weeks, we'll talk about how to have slow dating practices and get to know people slowly and surely.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody, and watching. I keep forgetting to say watching. I'm so used to Hey Human being just audio, but now we're having like the visual thing happening. So tell all your friends, subscribe. In coming episodes, we're going to have guests, and right now we're just getting our feet wet, trying to figure out the vibe of the show. And we're going to keep progressing and growing it. And thank you for being a part of it.
Thank you for being here, Miss Susan. I love you to pieces. And I'm so glad that roofie thing worked out, that it didn't turn out worse than it could have been. Yeah.
I'm glad too. It's good to be here. Thank you. And
good to be here.
Good to be here. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Everyone. Have a good day.